So we're back again, and this time we're talking about the Apple AirPods. It's a long awaited video. So, what can you say about these AirPods? Well, I would say that they are probably the best designed wireless earpods that you can get to this day, and they came out, over 2 years ago? Insanity. But, I mean, just the overall design and how everything fits into one package. I mean, there are no other wireless earpods that fit into a case this size. It's just nice. Everything is designed quite nicely, so I mean, the case flips open and it has a magnet so it snaps back into place when you close it. And even the AirPods, when you put them back into the case, they slip back into the case with a magnet at the bottom. So there are some AirPods that don't do that. It's actually quite hard to put them back into the case, such as the Google Pixel Buds, which were a nightmare. They also self-align because of the magnet. You can put them back in and they automatically self-align. The AirPods actually have basically the same design as Apple's normal earphones, which, I mean, they fit my ears nicely, but it depends on the shape of your ears, really. I mean, if you don't like Apple AirPods, then you probably won't like the shape of the AirPods either. The case and the AirPods are made out of a nice plastic that Apple uses in lots of their products, like the Apple Pencil and their old earphones. And yeah, it's just it's a good quality plastic, and everything feels pretty solid, to be honest. It charges through a lightning port, which is not convenient for some people, but if you have an iPhone, actually maybe not for long, if you have an iPhone, then you can still charge it through the lightning port.
Okay, so now we're going to be talking about sound quality on these things. Now, I have to say, from switching briefly from these back to the cheap £4 AKG earphones that you can buy on Amazon, which actually come in the Samsung box, they definitely sound better. The wired AKG earphones sound better, but that's not to say they're more convenient. Definitely, if you want something that's convenient, Bluetooth, and in a really small case, without any wires, these are the best things to go for. And they actually have decent sound quality. The bass is on point, but compared to some other wired solutions, you might be a bit disappointed. One thing to mention before we give you a quick sound test is that these do actually have a mic on the bottom, so you can take phone calls and stuff straight through these without taking your phone out. Another thing to mention quickly is the gesture system on the AirPods. So if you have it in your ear, you can set it up so you double tap to skip song, or double tap to pause, or on the left one you double tap to pause and you single tap to do something else. And you set all of that stuff up through your Mac. You have to have a iOS device to set up the AirPods initially if you want to use custom gesture systems. Now we're going to do a quick sound test for the AirPods.
Alright, so since these are all about convenience, now Apple has made it as convenient as possible to pair with, well, any Apple device really, any new Apple device with what they call the W1 chip, which allows for easy pairing to these AirPods. So, as soon as you open the AirPods case, a pop-up will show on your Apple device, or in fact, your Android device, but we'll talk about that later. The pop-up will show the battery life of the AirPods, and of course, once you open the case, they automatically pair to your device, which is very convenient and a lot better than any other solution from many other companies. Now, it's probably the fastest pairing you'll get from any Bluetooth earpods. One other thing to mention is you also get the battery life of the case. So, speaking of the case, you get 5 hours of battery life on the AirPods, and then you get an extra 24 hours of battery life with the case. which is why it's a lot better, surprisingly a lot better than any other company has come up with so far. Well, the Jabra Elite 65T AirPods are almost there, but I say slightly behind. It's quite surprising that you get that much battery life in such a small case, because many other companies have got much larger cases with smaller batteries, which I don't understand why. It's very confusing.
Okay, so now I want to talk about pairing with Android. Although Apple doesn't actually list these devices as compatible with phones other than iPhones, I beg to differ. I've actually got an Android device. I've got the OnePlus 6, and I also have AirPods. Now, I've paired these with my OnePlus 6 with no problem. One thing which makes the experience a lot better is if you get the AirPods app, which isn't obviously the official one by Apple, but it's made by an Android developer. And it allows you to do stuff like use the gesture where you take the AirPod out of your ear, like so, and it will pause the music automatically, which is really useful if you're out and about and you don't want to take your phone out of your pocket. Another thing that you can do with the app is once the AirPods pair to your phone, when you open the case, it will automatically give you that same pop-up like on an iOS device where it tells you the battery life of both the AirPods and the case, which is really useful so you know when you need to charge the case itself via Lightning port. If you don't want to get the app, it is 99p or $1.99 or something on the Play Store, then the AirPods will still pair just like any Bluetooth headphone or AirPod on the market, just via Bluetooth. Once you open the lid, they should automatically Bluetooth pair to your Android device, which is good, but one of the reasons people buy AirPods is for the ease of pairing. So if you don't want to get the app, you'll just have the same experience like any other Bluetooth earphones, except in a much smaller form factor.
Right, so should you buy this? Well, I'd say that these are probably still the best wireless AirPods on the market right now. There is talk of Apple AirPods 2, but who knows, that's probably much later next year. Although they are the best wireless AirPods, that comes at a pretty big price of £159. And you can get cheaper wireless AirPods, but if you want the best experience, these are probably the ones to buy. If you want amazing sound quality, then you should probably look at wired AirPods as long as your phone has a headphone jack. But if you want the portability and convenience of these, then these are definitely the ones to go for.
You all know how I feel about Apple devices. Usually I'm not a big fan with MacBooks, iPhones, so forth, but this is one product which I think they did really well. For me, portability is the main factor when it comes to AirPods in general, because I'm going to be carrying them in my pocket. I'm not going to want to bring a bag with me for some big headphones when I'm just going to school or something. Another thing is I want them to pair really easily so that I don't have to take my phone out and fiddle with all the settings and Bluetooth settings and everything just to pair to my device. And this does this really well, especially if you have the AirPods app on your Android device or if you just have an iOS device. In terms of sound quality, my conclusion is that it does what you need. It's not perfect. It hasn't got like the best bass, the best sound quality, but it gets loud enough, and it will probably be right if you just want to listen to music on the coach or something like that. One thing which I do need to mention is that it has basically no noise cancellation, mainly because it doesn't have rubber tips, it just has these plastic tips on the end. So if you're looking for noise cancellation, you don't want to hear anyone else on the train or bus, whatever, then these definitely aren't the ones for you. But if you don't mind that, then go ahead and get them because they're great. You can get a discount on Amazon, I think. You can get £20 off the Apple price on Amazon. That's if you don't get Apple Care as well. Oh yeah, don't forget to like, by the way.
And subscribe.